the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve of the United States on the day of the financial collapse, September 18th, 2008, you can pinpoint it to a second, the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve is about $880 billion. When Donald Trump takes the oath of office, 9 years later, on January 20th, 2017, the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve is $4.5 trillion.
Hi, I'm James Williams and this is Chimes Media. Well, there you have it. The Federal Reserve, thanks to the 2008 crash, increased its vaults, if you like to call it that, from $880 billion to $4.5 trillion. That's where the money's all gone, all the bailing out of the banks and stuff like that. And the result is it's impoverished the rest of us, surprise, surprise. And the new age coming through universities, laden with debts, no certain futures. I have two sons who don't really have much of a career path, and they've been through all that hamster wheel sort of setup. And what are we doing? We've got the hard left, the far left, hard left, whatever you like to call it, breaking out riots, attacking people, and then blaming the right wing. The Tommy Robinsons are to blame. No, they're not. They're not the ones who are invoking violent clashes against individuals. No, they're not. They're trying to bring the truth out, to tell people what actually is going on. And we get all split up because, oh, hang on, I don't quite agree with you on that aspect about immigration, but I agree with you on the other things. But then, we have to be understanding of each other, that we come at things from a different angle, and we've had a certain different path to follow to get to our own conclusions. I wanted to go on to another subject here. Swayne O'Pie, right? Swayne O'Pie has been a men's rights campaigner for many years, a real veteran and a stalwart. He's been in there all the time, and he's been banned from speaking at Manchester University and in Cheltenham by left-wing snowflakes who think he's going to talk hate speech. What he's trying to do is trying to put the case of how actually it's men are the ones who've suffered the most because of the actions of society. They have a much higher suicide rate, depends on where you look. Roughly it's anywhere between 3 and 5 times as much, and in certain categories it is much higher, the suicide rate for men. Incarceration, right? Well, men, 90% of those in prison are men. And very often, if you look into their cases, yeah, there's some really nasty blokes in there. Of course there are, but they're not all. They're not much worse than some of the women. But the women have a sort of bit of what they call a pussy pass to get past your sentencing and even being charged in the first place. I remember seeing not more than about 2 or 3 years ago a woman who had 20 different incidents, and she beat up another woman on a public transport, and put her in hospital and avoided going to prison. Naughty girl, you'll have a bit of probation. If been a man who'd been thrown away, he would have been 5 years, 10 years straight away. And the suicide rate amongst prisoners tends to be higher. So Swayne O'Pie is trying to bring that out into the university to talk about that, but he's not allowed to. We're not allowed. They're not. What's the matter with the universities? What's the point of having a university that doesn't listen to anything other than their own little echo chambers? What's the point of them? Isn't it time we stopped? They do absorb a certain amount of taxpayers' money. It gets in one way or the other. As a taxpayer, why should we fork out for these bigoted institutions? Why? Why are we putting up with it? If they're not tolerant enough to listen to alternative points of view, then why should they stand? Why should they draw in public money? Because they're not working for our interest. They're going to go on to be, if they get jobs, if they get a career, unlikely, they'll go on to be lawyers and media people and stuff like that, with this very narrow-minded attitude about men, the patriarchy, rape culture, which is found to be a load of rubbish, absolute rubbish. Look at the Kavanaugh hearing in America. With Kavanaugh, in case you've forgotten already, being nominated for the Supreme Court. A guy with a perfect, unblemished record. He'd worked hard on it. He's an expert in law and legal stuff. He's got a exemplary record. No convictions at all. He had 6 FBI background checks, if you can still believe FBI, and nothing was found wrong with him. But he was accused, and the accusations were unfounded. There's no evidence, not even the lowest, not even slightly guilty, and they're all out like mad hyenas, screaming, trying to get into the Supreme Court to tear it down. Crazed people. What was it? One of the protests in Washington, 300 feminists arrested. 300, and then they got this clown Jordan Hunt. There was an abortion rally, a young woman talking to him, filming at the same time. He's claiming misogyny, women and all the rest of it. He's a male feminist.
Someone was raped and she gave birth and she decided to kill
out of
her
nowhere,
3-year-old child.
delivers a roundhouse kick to her shoulder.
Decided to kill
assaulting
her
a
3-year-old
woman.
child.
Why? Because she had the wrong views. So it's not about misogyny, is it? It's nothing about that. It's about having the wrong views. And we've seen this. This is in history. It's repeated time and time again. And it's usually the revolutionary ones on the left who have no tolerance of other views. And then if they take power, if they really take power, those who are opponents or are seen as opponents, or even slightly different it gets down to, they're the ones rounded up for the gulag. They're the ones who get the persecution. They're the ones who lose their jobs. It starts off with losing your job. And now we've got the internet. They can track you down wherever you go. They can shut off your money supply. They can stop you. I mean, PayPal is now taking out sanctions against those they don't like. Where's it going to end? It doesn't end. It carries on. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not as if it's a surprise in history that this goes on. It has gone in the past. Over 100 years ago, the Russian Revolution, it devolved very quickly. And how many people died in that? Went to the gulags. Horrible deaths. Ordinary people. 60 million, was it? 100 million? Nobody knows the full figure, the proper figure. But as Jordan Peterson says, after the first 10 million, you kind of made your point that you got no tolerance of any other type of thinking. And it sets countries, peoples back for decades. The devastation to families you can never recover from, really. It's appalling. Are we on the brink of going back to that? We've got that horrible Palpatine Soros, who's funding into the globalist campaign to take down all the borders, to have one world government. Yeah, one world government. Don't we know that one? The Galactic Empire. That's the start of it. And the people protesting against it, they're as dumb as hell. They don't know anything. They don't know any history. They don't have any. They can't seem to understand concepts. They don't know how to it's not a case of arguing. It's just a case of, I disagree with you. I'm going to shut you down. I don't want to hear you. What are we going to do? What can we do? And at the moment, you've got the midterms approaching in the United States. These are actually, even though I'm not in America, but it is an important time because the lefties do not stop. They do not stop. They got this nullification project. So even though they lost Brexit, they want another referendum. They keep chipping away. They won't accept democratic rules. They won't accept the rule of law. They won't accept anything except their own particular dogma. We have to get off our arses and say to these bastards, no, you have to respect something. And it starts with law. It starts with respect of others. Anyway, that's my rant for now. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Frankly, unhinged people and unstable people out there. And when they hear someone on their side telling them, get up in their face, they take that literally. And they think that that gives them a license to be very aggressive, be harassing. It does scare me that there is going to be somebody that is really unstable that takes that message a step further. We've updated all of our security systems at home. I sleep with a loaded gun by my bed. I've always felt very safe. We used to never even lock our doors, and now that has all changed. My husband had 6 broken ribs and was violently assaulted, was seriously, seriously injured. And to have people like Cher and Bette Midler laughing on the internet and lauding his attacker, it's like, well, what kind of person are you that you think that is acceptable?
You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and/or the Senate, that's when civility can start again.